Hi everyone, busy one for you today on the channel as we chat about last night. We look forward to Livingston. Well, look forward is maybe an exaggeration. We chat Celtic in Australia with an Australian, Scott McDonald. And we hear from another Australian, Ange Postecoglou, as well as Callum McGregor, talking to me last night. How are we, guys? How are we feeling after another 3 points?
Very good, very good, very happy. I'm not too bothered about, everyone's talking about performances obviously last night and this morning. Sorry, David, jump in, but it's all about the 3 points. We keep saying it. 9 games to go. Just keep those points coming.
David,
performance was a wee bit better anyway last night. I thought certainly in the second half. First was a wee bit, a bit similar to recent performances, but we found a way through. Saw what happened to Rangers against Motherwell. Not even any home games are given 3 points, Hamish. So. Just really glad to get the 2 goals, really glad to get the 3 points. Another game ticked off, still 3 ahead, so got to be happy, man.
Some people, Scott, definitely not me, are getting a little bit anxious about this title race now that it's getting to the end of the season or near the end. You're a title running specialist, Scott, so settle us all down. Give us the good news. We're doing fine, aren't we?
Yeah, we're doing okay. I mean, obviously after the euphoric rise and high of obviously beating Rangers in emphatic fashion. The performances at times, obviously a couple of games thereafter have been good, but slowly dip. I think it's a combination of things. Obviously a lot of games in a short space of time. There's been question marks a little bit on Hatate as well in terms of his performances. I just think it's been a lot of games, and not having Kyogo to come back in. Giakoumakis seems to have, the form was great, then gets injured again. Good news is it looks like he'll be back as well. Maeda's not really performed to the levels that we thought he might. It's probably going to take him a little bit longer. He's a little bit different type of player to the Kyogos and the Hatates from what we've seen in the technical side. He's more a physical player and, more, on speed and trying to get, in behind. And look, only time will tell if we'll find out what his full strengths are. But also I think tactically, a couple of teams have worked Celtic out a little bit. So for Ange, that's the question mark now because, and I'll go back to the first game of the season, when Hearts played a back 5, 3 centre backs and wing backs. It was probably obviously they lost that game, but I've always found that I think with Ange's system, when they play against the back 5s, that's when it gets sticky. We've seen it on the weekend against Hibs. Hibs did that. Found it very, very difficult to break them down. Once again, St Mirren, exactly the same. Did the same again the other night. So it's all of a sudden the wing back inverting doesn't work because it doesn't shift anything. And when you get in those 1v1 situations with the wide players, there's still another centre back that comes across. So you're actually not getting that 1v1 situation. You've still got 3 solid centre backs along with the wing backs. Yeah. So when you look at that, you're not isolating the 1v1 in situation. Once he beats the wing back, bang, the centre back comes across. So it's becoming a little bit more difficult. And this is where the armoury, at times maybe, people are starting to work it out.
Yeah, I was just going to say, also Scott saying when Celtic or Ange play against a back 5, it gets a little bit more sticky. Ange has sort of been pretty insistent, you could say, that he's not going to change the way he plays his football or his style. Scott, what do you think Celtic have to be doing differently then to make some of these results a wee bit more comfortable?
I don't think it helps that Giakoumakis hasn't been fit. I think he's the out-and-out number 9 as well from a physical presence. Maeda likes to run in behind. There's not a lot of, spaces at the moment opening up for Celtic in those situations. Ange is not going to change his system. He's going to keep it going. I think when they play against these back 5s, they've stopped the inverts and they try and keep the fullbacks wider. And they try and obviously get the overlaps then and play their wingers wide as well, or try and invert them so the fullbacks can go. Look, there's things you can do, but Andrews isn't going to do that. He's going to continue with the process of what he is and what his team is and what he believes in. And look, they won 2-0 last night. So me saying that playing against back five is a problem, it's not a massive problem. It's just finding more and more opportunities is getting difficult. But when they get the chances, they're going to have to take them, and they did last night. They scored the two, and Stephen Robertson can call them deflections if he wants all day long. Couldn't care less. They're goals. So they didn't come out their own half. It made it very difficult for Celtic last night. I know Stephen Robinson well. He organises his teams exceptionally well, particularly for moments like this. All he would have worked on was shape. Even without a ball, there would have been 11 mannequins out, and they would have been running to mannequin after mannequin. Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but that's just how organised he is. So it would have made it doubly more difficult for Celtic if it had been a weekend game and he had more time actually to even install it.
Yeah, I agree with that, Hamish. I think that Giakoumakis being out is clearly a massive harm to the sort of system we're playing at the minute. But secondly, I think the quality of the crossing's been really poor when we're getting into wide areas. I think it's been under par, particularly against Hibs. Overhitting a lot of the crosses, I feel. And obviously you're not getting much of a physical presence in Maeda in the box anyway. I do think the crosses need to be a lot more pinpoint when he's in the box. And personally, I don't feel we've had that in the last two games from any of them, from Juranovic, from Jota, or Abada. The only real chance we had against Hibs for me was the low cutback from Taylor that Abada got onto. So I do think when we are playing with Maeda up front, I think we need to be a bit more incisive with how we're putting this ball into the box. I think some of the crosses are far too careless.
He has shown he can get his head in things, Maeda, despite his size, but a lot of the time when he's doing it, he's away at the front post and he's almost got an impossible header to get it on target. That's how he scored against Bodø Glimt, but last night he had 2 or 3 and he was never going to score them. So maybe it's more accurate cross. And I like your cutback comment, David. We had a couple last night. One came back to Juranovic and he kind of blazed it over the bar. I'm a fan of that kind of thing. I think mixing it up rather than just putting it into the box. Fans were clearly a little bit agitated last night, guys. Even, I rewatched the game, and even after 14 minutes, Hatate passes the ball out for a goal kick. You hear the groans. Scott, when you're playing, do you, this might be a daft question, tell me if it is, do you hear the groans when you're playing?
Yeah, you do. No, you do. You do. It's not great. At times when things aren't going well and you hear it, you actually want to shout to the stands and tell everyone shut up.
You would as well.
Because it's not intentional.
Yeah.
The player doesn't intentionally go and pass the ball out for a corner. It's just, I can get everyone's frustration with it, but at the same time, human beings as well. I don't expect people to understand that, but it doesn't do players any favours whatsoever. But again, you're at the club for that reason. You've got to be able to upstand that and have a strong mindset and resilience for that stuff, because it happens all the time. So it's not anything new. It's just kind of like at times you're just like, shut up, I know. You know what I mean? It's like, I know I played a bad pass, but I can't do anything about it. I've just got to get on with it, right? And stop reminding me. Mind you, in saying that, I was good at reminding others as well when I was on the pitch. So who am I to say anything?
I think with Hatate in particular, I mean, you can see he's trying. You can see he's putting 100% in. For me, what I get annoyed with more when things aren't going well is things like back heels and flicks.
Jota.
And the fancy stuff that Jota keeps trying to pull off, yeah. And I don't know, Scott, you've played with a fair few skillful players in your time. Are certain players just set up like that? Is that their way of playing? They're not necessarily trying to show off to the crowd. It's just how they feel they can get the best out of themselves.
I'd love us to rewind and go back to when we first started talking about Jota and what I had said about him. About there'll be times where you'll absolutely love him and think, oh, what a player. There'll be other times where you loathe him because he's that type of player where he likes to express himself. And at times when it comes off, it's a wonderful thing. And then there's times when you go, can you just keep it simple for us? And it's getting the balance of that right within these younger players, because he still is quite young, a little bit inexperienced, but it's getting the balance right, and that's the difference between the next level and just being at Celtic. If he goes to another level, then all of a sudden, in terms of picking those moments when to do it, when not to do it, not always doing it, then all of a sudden you've got a 20 million plus pound player and everyone's going, right, boom, he's ready now, and it's just maturing over time and understanding that. But you want him to, look, I've got that at a completely different level. I signed a player where I am, and I knew what I was going to get, though. I know that he's going to give me flashes of brilliance, and he's going to cut open teams at certain vital points of the season where I need something. And that's the type of player Jota is at times as well. So sometimes you've just got to take the good with the bad and try and improve it all the time. And Ange will be doing that. We know that. He's very hands-on in terms of his coaching and what he'll be doing on the training ground. Is that the right time to be doing it now? I think probably just by message it will be. Probably not necessarily on the grass showing, because we're at the back end of the season. There's been that many games, and I think it's just about now recuperating and going again all the time, and just keeping the players in the right mindset to keep performing and keep getting the points on the board.
Yeah, I mean those flicks don't look good when they don't come off. That's the thing David's hitting on, but and I think he had a couple last night that didn't come off at all. One that he just passed it to a St Mirren player. He had a Rabona recently against, I think it was the Dundee game. Again, nothing really came from it, but he's going to try these things, and he's been trying them all season. The difference is they were coming off in the early part of the season and they're not now, but I don't want to take that away from Jota. I really don't. I want him to keep trying things. And I honestly think he'll come good in the coming weeks. Callum McGregor was urging the players last night to calm down at one point in the first half. Scott, just going back to what we were just talking about a minute ago, the players get nervous. Have you been in Celtic teams where you can sense teammates are getting nervous in that atmosphere?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There's times even when it gets to all of us at certain times, because play one bad pass, play one second bad one, third one, and you're going, like if I lose it again, I know everyone's coming for me, type of thing. And there was quite a few times when at my time at Celtic it didn't go our way. At Celtic Park you were always expected to win, and sometimes you just had those days or nights where it's just not going to happen for us. And you're very low. I think that's where your manager really comes in at that point as well, and experienced players like Callum, trying to keep everyone calm. And it just takes one or two players to do certain things on the pitch to make it all right again, because you do look left and right at times when you're on there for other people to help you. That's what a good team does. Other people will help you out in times of need. And that's where you see the championship sides to the ones that aren't in those times. You're looking for that from particularly your leaders. Callum certainly done that last night, and obviously chipping in with his goal, which you could see how pleased he was as well. I was really happy for him, obviously, because he doesn't score as many these days in terms of his responsibilities and his role within the team and the squad now. But yeah, without question, now it's getting to that edgy period as well. Everyone's on edge. Not just, you could say players, it's the fans. And that energy does come onto the pitch at times, particularly if you haven't scored early on in a game and it's going. But Celtic have a great resilience once again this season of really going to... There's a real belief, I think, within the squad and within the stadium that they're going to just get that one chance. Just like the good old days where you just need that one chance. It's going to happen before the final whistle. We're going to get another one. And that's the attitude right now, and it's great to see.
Yeah, the record's amazing. I mean, it's 60 points out of our last 66 in the league, which is just remarkable. I mean, you need to keep remembering that. You mentioned Callum McGregor there. Let's hear from the skipper now then. He was doing post-match last night with me in attendance for 67 Hail Hail. We should say we're not allowed to actually film these post-match things, so it's just audio. But here is what McGregor had to say about last night's game.
We've got to learn to play against different systems and different setups, and teams are coming and making it really difficult for us to break them down now. So, it's about then us trying to find another solution to that as well. And like you said, in football you're always learning anyway, but certainly recently there's been more and more teams coming and just sort of sitting in a low block and giving us that problem to try and break them down. So, that's up to us as players, and obviously coaching staff and manager to come up with a solution to try and get around that and try and beat it. So like you said, everyone is learning. We're always learning in football anyway, but It's important we keep striving to do that. No, I think that's, it's just frustration, obviously, in terms of result. That's what you get, the pressure of playing at a big club. You have to take that on your shoulders and still be able to perform and still do the right things and still do what the manager's asking you to do. Like you said, touched on there, some new players and some young players. But, I think they're handling it well. It's a difficult prospect sometimes. And the boys are, they're really trying to keep implementing what the manager's asking them to do. And then, like you said, it's about the experienced ones, just calming them down at the right times and, like you said, just keeping them on the right path.
Did you do that in the first half when you were gesturing for everyone to calm down?
Yeah, I think for us as players, we're always trying to do the right thing. People misplace passes and give the ball away or, shoot over the bar. That's part of football. You have to accept that as part of the game. It's as long as people are trying to do the right thing and try to do what the manager's asking them to do within that structure, then you just keep everybody calm and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to score goals. So we understand the frustration sometimes when it's 0-0 and it's a little bit edgy, but we're always trying to do the right thing. We're always trying to get the goals to win the game. So it's a learning curve for the players as well, but everyone's got to stay calm and stay focused on what we're trying to do.
You're still obviously wearing the face mask. I saw a photo of you in training yesterday with it off. How far away are you from playing without it?
I probably still need it for a wee while. I think that's 5.5 weeks or something like that, so probably still another few weeks to go.
You itching to get it off?
Well, as long as it's strong enough, I'm not going to ditch it if I still need it. So it's healing well. General day-to-day stuff is fine, but obviously still need it for the contact, bit of training or matches as well. So but it is getting better, which is positive.
So that was Callum McGregor. David, who impressed us last night in that game?
I thought it probably sound odd being at home to St Mirren. I thought the centre backs played really well. I thought Carl Starfelt in particular made a fair few good recoveries. Just for a player who's been so highly criticised throughout his time at Celtic, I really always feel the need to big him up when he has a good performance, because I've said it so many times, Hamish, people have the magnifying glass out for this guy whenever there's a mistake. So I thought he was really good last night. I think people made their minds up on him by October, but I think he's developed into a really good player for us. You obviously have the goal scorer, Carter Vickers. That was some finish, that, in the left foot volley. So I thought the centre backs played well. I was impressed with, and I know we've seen it quite a bit, Juranovic's his engine throughout the game. He's constantly up and down that right side, and whilst I was pretty critical of the crossing earlier on, I thought if you're looking at players who are giving you 100% every week, every 3 or 4 days, home to St Mirren or in Europe, it doesn't matter. Josip Juranovic is really typifying that type of player, and I thought he was at that again last night. Could have had an assist if he had his cross a wee bit more pinpoint late on in the second half. But for me, probably those three, and all three of them are defenders, Hamish. In terms of midfield to front, it's difficult to really pick a standout because I don't think we were too clever going forward. But yeah, I would go for 3 of the back 4.
Tom Rogic was good when he came on. I thought there was signs there that he's potentially getting back to his best, because he's been poor for a few weeks now. I actually asked Ange about his subs last night as well, because James Forrest I thought was good when he came on. You'll hear his answer to that in a few minutes, but we're going to play basically all of this stuff with Ange last night. It's about 10 minutes long. Here's what he had to say, starting with his thoughts on last night.
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance from the point of view of pleased players, kept their focus. It was another game where we had a lot of the ball. They were very deep, and it could have been easy for us to get anxious and sort of look for different ways and different things to do. But we kind of said that at some point in the second half they'll tire or they'll lose some concentration, and just to stay on it. And I thought we did, and then we just controlled the game really well. I don't think really they had a chance on goal. So I think from the players' perspective, I was pleased with their focus. Again, we obviously want to be an attacking team, an exciting team to watch, but we've been really good defensively all year. And I think we've only conceded 4 goals here at Celtic Park all season. So, and that's not because we we're playing defensively, it's because we're dominating games of football, and that's helping us because it keeps the opposition on the back foot, doesn't really give them a chance to have a breather and sort of get some joy by creating chances, and I thought today that was important.
And was it something you spoke about before the game to the players about maybe shutting out the crowd now, because it was kind of audible and a bit of frustration for half an hour?
And it's only natural. I mean, I don't think that like I said, you're getting to the business end of the year, and our supporters will be anxious as much as anyone. It's a normal human emotion. Our job is to make sure that, like I said, we've done really well so far, because it works. Like I said, it works both ways. It works if you're flying as well, and you get too carried away with thinking that you're further ahead than what you are. And all year I keep saying that this group of players has had different kinds of challenges, and they've overcome every one of them. And this is another challenge for us to just stay focused on our football and again, not worry about outcomes, not worry about results or anything else. Just play our football, and they'll bring us what we need, because that's why we're in this position in the first place.
Does it frustrate you at all, Ange, when teams come here and kind of sit deep and the last game as well?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't frustrate me. I mean, it doesn't make for a great spectacle, but I understand why oppositions do it. I mean, people say, well, when we played Rangers or we played it was such a great game. Well, that's because the opposition are having a go at us. There's space for us to play. And when there isn't, then we've got to generate it. We've got to sort of be the instigators. It's not easy, and it doesn't make for a great spectacle, because the supporters sort of have to wait for us to get the ball and try and find ways to open the opposition up. So, but it's a legitimate way of playing, and clubs have had success doing it that way. I understand why they do it. It's not frustrating. It's just the challenge. But as I said, for the most part, I think we've handled teams that sit deep pretty well. There's only been a couple of times where we've just got a bit frustrated. But I thought today, I just thought we were in control the whole game.
There was one moment in the first half, Ange, when Callum McGregor was kind of gesturing to everyone to calm down. Is it harder to keep the composure as we enter the kind of end of the season?
Yeah, look, again, because you're dealing with human beings. I mean, I'd love to, switch off the human side of them and turn them into robots, but then you'd all be bored that, they were just had no personality. So it's human nature. You just got to try and use that in a positive way, and use the, whatever anxiety you have or whatever sort of stress you're feeling in a positive way. And I keep saying to the guys, you'll find the answers to that in our football if you just, focus on your job, and everyone's got a real clear role in the team and how we want to play. It helps you block it out, and it's a safe for Cal as well, because I mean, I know people. He's an experienced guy, but it's his first crack at captain a side in this position. So he's kind of wanting to imprint his own personality on the team as well, and that's so. I keep making the point, not because of any other reason, but this is still a new team with new experiences every week, and credit to them, they keep fronting up and keep producing when there are plenty of reasons why they don't have to or couldn't, but it's credit to them that we're still every week we're trying to be really focused, and Cal's a big part of that.
And your subs seem to make quite a good impact. Tom Rogic was probably as good as he's been in a good 2 weeks. James Forrest as well. Yeah,
they were great. Really important for us. I think they're going to be important in the run-in. I thought today, we were in control of the game, and we just needed a little bit more energy, because Leo and Matty and Leo had worked awfully hard. A few of them had. So, I thought Nero, Tommy, and as I said, James, I thought they came on and did exactly what I wanted them to do. Not only control the game, but also then gave us the outlet to be a threat going forward. And it's going to be important for us. Our squad depth will be really important in these games, because most games are going to be pretty tight, and you may need somebody to come on and win a game for you, control a game for you, defend a game for you, and I keep saying to the guys that whether you start or not, whether you play 90 minutes or half an hour, your contribution is going to be vital, and I thought the subs did really well.
And since you spoke yesterday, it's been announced that Celtic will play Rangers in Australia. I don't think the fans are too happy about it, but what's your take on it?
I'm disappointed with that, mate. Jokingly. Again, I've said from day one, I'm not going to tell the supporters what to feel or what not to feel. Selfishly, I'm delighted, mate, because I'm all over the promotional stuff, which means I'll hopefully still be in a job by then, or else they're going to have to throw it all away. So, I'd love to take this team to my hometown, just show people the football we can play. And there's a lot of our supporters, I know it, I've lived it in Australia, who I can tell you they'll be snapping up tickets and changing whatever holiday plans they had to watch us play. So, you know, I can understand some people have different views on it, but again, from my perspective, I'm not going to tell people how they should feel or not. Like I said, I've got some selfish self-interest in this in terms of, you know, I'm going to feel super proud to take this team back to where I grew up. I mean, every other big club around the world takes advantage of that. Why wouldn't we take advantage of the fact that we've got an unbelievable opportunity and to keep growing the interest and popularity of this football club, both, you know, not just in a commercial sense, because, you know, that's obviously a big part of football these days, but just, you know, getting more. I guarantee you we've gained new supporters of this football club, and, you know, we are an all-inclusive church, mate, you know, and we should welcome from far and wide, which we do, and I think taking the team to that side of the world, I think, is positive for us, but also, like I said, Scottish football, because, you know, people know what I'm like. I'm not going to go there and treat it as a friendly. We're going to go there and play a couple of games, and I want them to see us playing fantastic football and everyone talking about our football club.
Any chance of throwing in a game in Japan as well? Since we're out in that part of the world?
Yeah, it would be great, but I don't think we got the time. But look, it's something that I'm pushing for as well, because I know the interest in Japan will be phenomenal. Not just in Japan, and there's one place we definitely got hordes of new supporters for sure. Not because of me, but because of, you know, the likes of Kyogo and Reo and Daisen and Yosuke. I think. Again, it's an opportunity for this football club to continue to grow, you know, spread the love.
And we all go back to yours afterwards then?
To be fair, they've all invited me over to theirs while I've been here, everyone I've bumped into, so I probably should open up, but yeah, we'll see. Look, that's a long way down the track, obviously. Got announced this week, we've got more important things to concentrate on, but like I said, from my perspective, hopefully, like I said, I'm still in charge, and we take this team to my hometown. I'll be a very proud person.
And we think Ange will certainly be in charge in November when Celtic go over to Sydney. Scott, let's move on to this issue that has divided many then. What's the Aussie perspective on Celtic going to Sydney? Because fans here aren't too happy. There was a display in the North Curve last night that read, "We're not half of anything unless there's money to be made. Shove your old firm friendly up your arse." But what's the kind of view from an Aussie?
Look, I think Ange, as always, speaks very poignantly, and how he answered it last night was bang on the money in terms of my opinion, how I feel about it. People have their opinions, which I respect fully as Celtic fans, and what they feel and what they go through and what they see over in Scotland. But for us guys in Australia, this has been massive news, huge for us as a footballing country, because for us, Australian football's been, for the last 2.5 to 3 years, in the doldrums, realistically. The A-League itself has took control of the league off the FA. There's been a lot of infighting within that. They've gone to a new platform. They're still struggling in terms of probably numbers, TV ratings wise. Fans at the games just aren't coming anymore. You know, we talked through at COVID when I was still playing. Everyone had to take 30% of their salaries just to allow the game to survive. So the bigger picture for us guys is that, yes, the clubs that are coming, it's massive news, and because of the rivalry and everything else. I mean, the biggest focus has been on Ange. coming back to Australia and what he means to this country and how well he's doing in Europe and bringing Celtic here. And for me, the biggest thing for me, and I said this already to a couple of media outlets, was when I told my son that the Celtic were coming and how excited he was. He was absolutely buzzing, guys. Right. So for me, as a fan, that's a million miles away as well, and my chance to take my son to the game as well and be part of the Celtic family again, because I probably will be doing bits and pieces of work on it. There's no doubt, because I'm here. So I'm absolutely buzzing to be a part of that and getting the opportunity to mix, with the Celtic people again and Ange and whoever else it is and pick brains. It's really hugely exciting for me, but not, that's a selfish way of looking at it. But actually for our country, we need big teams coming to Australia. And I think as well, Ange hit the nail on the head about new fans engaging with the club, because there's so many people here that have caught interest, as you know, by speaking to quite a few of them, Hamish, as well, over the period since Ange has had the job, that there's a huge interest here. But Celtic coming here, regardless of whoever else is coming here, Celtic coming here is the biggest catchment to this point for everyone, and engaging and bringing new fans also to the football club. And then from a commercial side, it's massive and it makes sense for the club. Now, out with whatever else has been agreed, that's the club that have gone down that route, or whatever's happened there in terms of negotiations, whoever's done that. But for me, I'm absolutely ecstatic that they're coming, and I can't wait. And I look forward to obviously being able to spend that time with my son and take him to the game, and all my family can be there, and it's like good old days for me. So, for being a lot of other people that haven't probably seen Celtic in a long time, they'll be hugely excited by this. And whatever happens, there's going to be a sellout there, guys. There's going to be 80,000-90,000 there. Regardless of what the protests are, or people not being happy with it, in terms of how it's going to look as a spectacle, and what it's going to, how other people is going to engage in our country, and actually hopefully bring more people towards our game again, because I think that will happen. I think from that spin, for us, it's a fantastic thing.
Yeah, David, I think it is important we remember that as much as we are Celtic fans in Scotland, we're not the only Celtic fans around the world. There's Celtic fans everywhere, and take the Rangers part away from it, which I'm personally not a huge fan of at all. In fact, I'm not a fan. Celtic going to Australia is great. I think it's brilliant news.
Yeah, fantastic for the supporters in Australia. I'm all for Celtic, expanding their reach globally. We do a lot of tours around Europe in pre-season and things like that, so there's no problem with them going to Australia, no problem with them going to Sydney and playing in tournaments. I think it's brilliant, and I totally understand the financial rewards that are on offer for Celtic as well. I have a big problem with the opposition. I do, as a Celtic fan. There's a sort of, maybe pride's the wrong word, or maybe it isn't, but there's a feeling that what we like about this derby is that it isn't over commercialised. It isn't, it isn't pushed as, maybe this is a bit harsh, a circus act as such, an event, a fun match to go and see. A lot of Celtic fans hate this fixture. They really do. Some of them might not even watch it. And for me, it's not Manchester United versus Manchester City. It's not a match where when the opposition team score, the fans have got their phones out taking videos of the celebration, So I think there's that feel to it which Celtic fans are struggling to overcome. Me, I'm not personally, sat the board over it or anything like that. I'm not that passionate. I'd go to those lengths, but I do think a lot of the support maybe haven't been taken on board with their feelings with regards to who we're playing. But it's brilliant I'm going to Sydney. I think there's a funny element to it, and that Rangers are playing a side act as to Ange Postecoglou's coming home tour.
A tribute act, some
a tribute act perhaps, but I can totally understand why fans, because I'm one of them, feel that it's not right to be associating ourselves with Rangers in a friendly manner, especially considering their behaviour in recent years towards us, Hamish.
I actually, just to touch on this, like ever since I probably signed for the club In 2007, I know I had a lot of people within my establishment that were my agents and everything else. This has been something that hasn't just come around all of a sudden in the last 6 months. Celtic and Rangers coming out here and having this fixture's been discussed probably for 2 decades out of interest, and it's probably took this long. And I don't think it happens if Ange isn't the head coach. I really don't. I think that's been the biggest catchment to everything, and actually probably the finances that have been given, I don't think they would actually be given if Ange wasn't coming. I don't know the deal. I couldn't begin to tell you what it is, but in terms of, I think with Celtic being connected with Ange and the connection to Australia, I think Celtic will probably be doing very, very, very well, and probably better than others. I would assume so, but again, that's me just presuming, guys. Don't take that for fact, and none of our listeners take that for fact either, please.
Were you part of the team that went to Australia about 10 years ago, Scott?
I was the very first, so my agent was part of that, organising Celtic to go to both tours. Previous Lou Sticker, who's probably a great guy to speak to about previous tours. We were there in 2009, I think it was. I captained the side against Brisbane Roar, which actually, funny enough, there was a few ex-Rangers players playing in that game for Brisbane Roar. There was Craig Moore, Charlie Miller and Bob Malcolm, which made it a little bit more spicy, and they certainly got their telling to that day off. I think it was about 35,000 Celtic fans at the game. So it was a great atmosphere. And then they came back, I think it was in 2011. They did a little bit more of a sort of scenic tour around Australia there. I think they went to Perth, Melbourne and Sydney that time. Probably played one too many games, speaking to people that were part of that tour. And the 1 or 2 games is probably the maximum you should probably do to, have the value of the football club and not oversell
it.
Yeah. I just think we also have to be wary of how we react to this fixture, this tournament. It's not having a dig or having a go at Australia, the Australian Celtic supporters, or the Australian public. I think all Celtic fans are really happy that the club would go to Australia and take advantage, if you want to say, of Ange Postecoglou's roots. But yeah, I don't think people will change their minds over how they feel about this fixture. Granted, we'll all be watching it when it comes around, even if there's players missing. But yeah, disappointing we were playing, but it will.
Could be players missing just for one team. I don't think there'll be many missing from the other one.
True.
Right, we're going to move on, guys, because we're going to move on. So we've got Livingston on Sunday. I can't say I'm particularly confident about this game, guys. Given the way we're playing at the moment, it's all well and good saying, we're getting the victories, and I take that point on board. That's all it is at the moment, at this point in the season. But we do need to improve, going to Livingston and going to Ibrox shortly afterwards. This is a tough game. I mean, look at that league table. Livingston are now 4th in the league, guys. When the hell did that happen? They're suddenly 4th. And it's, Scott, you're kind of the chief worrier about Livingston in general. So how are you feeling?
I hate this place. I hate it.
Did you play there?
Them. Yeah, I hate that.
Right.
Look, I didn't actually play on this pitch.
Right.
I mean, right. I was doing, when the pitch actually was laid, I was actually doing the media work at that time. But even to walk across it's like that thick, man. Right. It's like for a 4G surface, it plays so slow. It really does. It's crap. It's crap for the way footballing teams want to play. So for me, it gives Livingston a huge advantage against other teams. People can disagree with me all they want, but when you play on it, you see it. It's a different ball game. All 4G surfaces are a different ball game to play on. Whenever very rarely, I remember Celtic going to Hamilton and spanking them once. I think Edouard got a few that night. But very, very rarely have you seen Celtic go to a 4G surface and absolutely annihilate a team. Why is that? Is it coincidence or not? I don't know. I just they play differently, and You know, the way you move the ball and teams that play on it every second week, is it not an advantage? I think it is. But I'm going down a different total route. But they're in great form. They've turned it around. Martindale's done an exceptional job with them and where they are and how confident they are. They're going to come and attack Celtic. They'll have a right go. Maybe that helps Celtic. I hope so. Giakoumakis being fit, which is the rumour at the moment, I hope so. I hope he can play up top as well because they need a target. Because you can't really run in behind on this surface. It's not very easy to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to need someone that's powerful and strong and that can command in that box, particularly if there are crosses and whatnot coming in. So I hope he is fit and Celtic actually put on a performance because in recent times they've not when they've gone there.
It's funny that we do go on and quite rightly about the surface they've got, the Tony Macaroni, but it's not even just in Livingston, is it? They've ever since they were promoted in 2018, and I think they've got 3 draws at Celtic Park.
Yeah.
What is it about Livingston, Scott? What is it about this team and this group of players that, no matter who the manager is or who the manager signs, they're always giving us bother, regardless of the venue, certainly since they've been promoted.
I think you get that club, don't you? You always get that one club. And I think when you're part of that club as well, I think you always have a certain, they don't like playing us. This is good for us, psychologically. And the longer it goes, everyone gets more edgy. And I think they'll have a confidence about them with Celtic coming to Tony Macaroni as well because of the points and the performances that they've had previous against Celtic. So it's all for Celtic to do, isn't it? So are they capable of? Absolutely. And for me, I think they could surprise us and really put a really good performance on.
Hopefully. I mean, they're a good team as well, Livingston, aren't they? As you say, David, they've got a lot of good results. They've just beaten both Dundee sides. They spanked Dundee 4-0 at the weekend. They've got some good players. I mean, Bruce Anderson, I think, is a good striker. Alan Forrest is playing really well. I know Alan
Pittman.
quite well. I grew up with Alan and he's a hell of a player. Pittman's a good player. Omiyonga, don't know if he's been playing much, but he's like a Belgium youth international. And then they've obviously got that defence that is so solid and doesn't give many goals away. So, guys, I am just petrified about this game. Genuinely, I would. Just give us 3 points, and I'll be the happiest guy alive if we get 3 points on Sunday because I've just got the fear about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've long since been confident about this fixture. It's no longer a blip when we go there anymore. It's a real problem we've got. It's the thing with Livingston in it. There's no personalities in there that seem to think they're bigger than they are. They're really honest. They seem really selfless. Probably the best unit in the country, to be honest, in terms of how they perform as a team. And you're right. I mean, they go away from home, they get results. They won at Easter Road not long ago. I think they're unbeaten in 3 away from home. Credit to them, they're a good team. But if you want to be champions, we can't be petrified of going to Livingston and trying to get a result, and especially not when Rangers are going there and winning 2 and 3-0 as well. We need to find the answers, guys, and we need to do it this weekend.
Well, we all love Ange's presses after the games, and I hope that Celtic win the game and he turns around and goes, I really feel sorry for that David Martindale, just like he did when they went there the last time.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
I missed that completely.
I don't know if Martindale just winds us up because he keeps getting results against us, but everything he says does seem to annoy me as well when he plays Celtic.
Yeah, so a retribution hopefully for Ange when they go there.
Fingers crossed.
Oh well, we're going to preview it big style. We've got all of tomorrow and Saturday as well to preview the game, guys. So we'll leave it there for now in terms of today's video, but it's going to be a big one on Sunday. It's got a big kind of defining game feeling about it, guys. Thanks so much, and we'll catch up with both of you next week. Thanks everyone for watching. We're back tomorrow. Please give us a sub to the channel if you've not managed to do it yet. It really does help us grow and improve the channel, and we'll speak to you tomorrow.